Do you remember that young boy who lived in the cottage, who went to sea, whose parents became wreckers and were responsible for his death, who stuffed him into a crevice over in John Paul Jones Bay on Caldy Island? Well, it turned out the dead body that they'd found on the beach wasn't him. That poor sailor's face had been so battered and bruised that they couldn't tell who he was. They'd just identified their son by the fossil around his neck. But while their son was sailing on ships, he learned to play cards. He liked to gamble. And one day, he'd used as his stake that fossil on the pebble, and he'd lost it playing cards. And so many years later, he came back to live here. And he moved into his parents' old tumble-down cottage. And he got married himself, and he had a child. And the way he earned a living was he became a fisherman. But he didn't just fish any old time. He liked to fish in the evening, because he found that's when the fish bit best. And one evening he'd been out fishing, and he was coming back along the path here through the woods, when he saw something on the path in front of him. At first he thought it was a hat. But then the hat got up and waddled off in front of him. As he got closer, he realized it was a hedgehog. And as the hedgehog walked, it stopped. It looked back over its shoulder at him. Then it walked on a bit. Then it looked back over its shoulder at him. It seemed clear the hedgehog wanted him to follow it, so he did. And then the hedgehog turned off the path, and there was a large boulder, and the hedgehog put its nose against the boulder and began to push. Of course, the boulder was far too big for the hedgehog to be able to move, but it seemed clear that the hedgehog wanted the young man to look underneath the boulder, and so he pushed it up. And by now the moon was out, and he saw something glinting in the moonlight underneath, and he reached beneath the boulder and he pulled it out, and it was a gold coin. Well, he went straight home. And he had an old tin that he'd had at sea. And he put the gold coin in the tin. And he hid it up in the roof. He didn't want to tell his wife yet, because he thought he'd surprise her. Perhaps he'd buy her a new dress. The next night, he didn't go fishing. He waited till about the same time. He came to the boulder, he pushed the boulder, and sure enough, underneath there was another gold coin. He didn't tell his wife. He thought if he kept collecting gold coins, they'd soon be rich enough to move out of that tumble-down cottage. They'd soon be rich enough perhaps to have servants of their own. They wouldn't have to work at all. And so for the next 30 nights, for the next month, every evening, he went to the boulder. He found a coin. But his wife started asking him why he wasn't fishing. His wife started scolding him for not fishing. And one night he came home to find his wife with the baby under her arm, a coat on and a suitcase in the other hand. He said, "Where are you going?" She said, "I'm leaving you. I'm not staying here to starve. You don't work anymore. It won't be long. We will be starving, so I'm leaving. I'm going back to my parents." He realized, of course, he'd have to tell her. So he explained how he'd seen the hedgehog, how each evening he'd been going and collecting the gold coin. And his wife looked at him and said, "You fool." He said, "What?" She said, "You fool. Don't you remember the stories our grandparents used to tell us? Don't you know that was no hedgehog at all, but that was one of the Tylwyth Teg, one of the fairy people, and no good ever came of fairy money?" He said, No, you're wrong," he said. "I got a gold coin here," and he reached in his pocket and he pulled it out to find. It wasn't a gold coin at all, it was a shell. He ran into the house, he went to the tin, he ran out with it, but as he was running towards his wife with the tin, he already knew it was too light. It wasn't heavy enough. And when he opened it, it was a shell in the tin. Well, after that, he never found another gold coin beneath the boulder. But he lived a long time in the little cottage with his wife and his children who grew up. Even when he was an old man, sometimes when he'd come back from fishing and he walked through the woods, it would seem to him he could hear the trees whispering, "Don't tell, and all will be well. Don't tell, and all will be well. Don't tell, and all will be well.